France is facing an economic collapse that's forcing an entire generation to abandon their homeland. What was once the symbol of quality living, cafe culture, work-life balance, and affordable elegance has become an unaffordable nightmare for millions. Here's what no one is telling you about the crisis that's quietly destroying one of the world's most beloved countries. We're about to uncover 9 devastating factors that are making France unaffordable and forcing an entire generation to leave. Each one is worse than the last, but factor number 8 is creating a ripple effect that could destabilize economies worldwide. What's happening in France isn't staying in France, and your country could be next. The numbers are staggering. In Paris, the average rent now consumes 67% of median income, compared to just 35% in 2010. A single square meter costs over 30 euros per month, making Paris more expensive than Manhattan. But here's the shocking part. This isn't just a Paris problem. Lyon has seen 45% rent increases in 5 years. Nice, 52%. Bordeaux, 38%. As people flee the capital, they're creating housing bubbles everywhere they land. The next statistic will surprise you. France needs 500,000 new housing units annually, but only builds 350,000. This gap has been widening for over a decade, creating a deficit of 1.5 million homes. Here's what's making everything worse. Airbnb has removed 120,000 apartments from France's long-term rental market. In central Paris alone, 1 in every 4 apartments is now a short-term rental. The math is brutal. A landlord can make 2,800 euros per month from tourists versus 1,200 euros from locals. Which would you choose? This economic incentive has created ghost neighborhoods where entire buildings operate as unofficial hotels. But the most shocking discovery is yet to come. Cities like Barcelona and Amsterdam have banned Airbnb entirely. Paris tried regulation in 2018, but enforcement rates remain below 12%. The platform continues to hollow out communities while officials struggle to respond. While housing costs exploded, French wages barely moved. Real purchasing power has declined 8% since 2019. The minimum wage increased just 2.1%, while essential costs rose 18%. Groceries tell the brutal story. Bread prices rose 23%, dairy 19%, meat 31%. Energy bills doubled for many households. Families now spend 43% of income on basic necessities, up from 28% in 2015. Here's what no one anticipated. This created a psychological shift. The famous French art of living has been replaced by constant financial anxiety. 67% of French adults now worry about money daily, the highest rate in Europe. In just a moment, you'll see how this affects everyone globally. The data reveals a hidden migration crisis. 280,000 French professionals emigrated in 2023, the highest number since World War II. These aren't just any workers. 78% hold university degrees, 45% are under 35. The destinations tell the story. London offers 15,000 euros higher salaries for equivalent jobs. Switzerland, 22,000 euros more. Canada actively recruits French talent with fast-track immigration programs. This part changes everything. When a country loses its youngest, most educated workers, economic decline accelerates. Tax revenues fall, innovation stagnates, and social systems strain under an aging population. But the next revelation will shock you even more. Germany now has 450,000 French residents, more than any city in France except Paris, Lyon, and Marseille. An entire generation is voting with their feet. France attracts 90 million tourists annually, more than its entire population. This generates 60 billion euros, but creates a devastating paradox. Success is destroying livability. Venice syndrome has hit French cities. In Paris's Marais district, 80% of ground floor businesses now serve tourists, not residents. Local bakeries become souvenir shops. Pharmacies become luxury boutiques. The hidden cost is staggering. Residents pay tourist prices for everything. A coffee that cost €1.50 in neighborhood cafes now costs €4.50 because the cafe targets visitors who'll pay anything. Here's the most disturbing trend. Entire city centers are becoming open-air museums where actual French people can't afford to live or shop. The authentic culture tourists come to experience is being erased by their presence. France's administrative system adds hidden costs that compound every problem. Renting an apartment requires 14 different documents, takes 45 days average, and costs €500 in fees before seeing a single property. The most absurd example, foreign professionals must prove French language skills to rent apartments, even for English-speaking jobs. This isn't just inefficiency, it's economic self-sabotage. But here's what makes it worse. Digitalization efforts fail because 68% of French administrative websites don't work properly. Citizens waste 2.3 billion hours annually on bureaucratic tasks that should take minutes. The next consequences will surprise you. Entrepreneurs face 127 different regulatory requirements to start a business, versus 16 in Estonia. Is it any wonder why French startups relocate to London or Berlin? The housing crisis is now attacking French demographics. Birth rates dropped to 1.68 children per woman in 2023, the lowest since 1994. The reason isn't cultural, it's economic. Young couples face impossible choices: delay children, accept cramped conditions, or move so far from work that commute times exceed 3 hours daily. Many choose the fourth option: leave France entirely. This part changes everything. Countries with below replacement fertility rates face economic death spirals. Fewer workers support more retirees, tax burdens increase, public services decline. But the most shocking data is yet to come. 42% of French millennials say they're considering emigration specifically because they can't afford to raise families in France. This isn't just individual tragedy, it's national suicide. France built its identity on equality, equality. But economic data reveals this principle dying in real time. Wealth inequality has reached levels not seen since the Belle Epoque. The top 10% of French households now control 52% of national wealth, up from 43% in 2000. Meanwhile, 14% of the population lives below the poverty line, including 1.2 million children. Here's what no one predicted. Geographic inequality is exploding. Paris region generates 31% of French GDP, but houses only 19% of the population. This concentration creates a two-speed nation. The most disturbing trend: social mobility has collapsed. Only 7.8% of French children from poor families reach high-income brackets as adults, down from 12.3% in 1990. The meritocratic promise is broken. France's crisis isn't contained within its borders. As French talent emigrates, receiving countries benefit while France loses 45 billion euros annually in human capital investment. But here's the global threat. If France, with its strong social systems and historical stability, can't maintain livability, what does this mean for other developed nations? The pattern is spreading. Similar crises emerge in Italy, Spain, and Portugal. Young Europeans increasingly view emigration as normal, the first generation since World War II to do so. This changes everything globally. When entire educated generations become nomadic, it destabilizes international labor markets, pension systems, and cultural continuity worldwide. France stands at a crossroads. Without massive housing construction, wage growth, and administrative reform, the French dream becomes accessible only to the wealthy, or to those willing to abandon France entirely. The question isn't whether France can solve this crisis, it's whether French people will still be there to benefit from the solution. What do you think? Is this crisis reversible, or are we watching the end of the French model of living? Share your thoughts below, and if this analysis opened your eyes to what's really happening in France, subscribe for more deep dives into the economic forces reshaping our world. Because understanding these trends isn't just about France. It's about recognizing the patterns that could transform your country next. Share your perspective on this analysis in the comments below. If this video provided valuable insights, consider supporting the channel with a like. Subscribe for more in-depth economic analysis and activate notifications to stay informed about global trends that shape our world.